Winfield Tecum City Ground, Mr. Robert Coster here with DSM, Nikki Burgess, talking about the next 10 days on August 12th around cotton. You know, Nikki, our cotton is reaching that point of the season where we're at physiological cutout. You know, if I plant map this, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 true nodes above white flower. We hit that physiological cutout at 5 nodes above white flower. That's where that plant starts shutting down, and we're blooming up the plant faster at that point than we're adding new nodes on. And so we're reaching that point here where this flower right here being a white candle, this is probably going to bloom in 2 days, be the 14th, be the morning it opens. So we're getting to that 5 nodes above white flower. So talk to us about the 2-3 things that we need to be focused on in the next 10 to 14 days with our cotton crop.
Sure, Robert. Here in West Tennessee, in the part of the cotton belt that we're in, we're getting close to that last effective boll date, which is roughly around August 15th. So as we approach that date, we need to start thinking about these late season Mepiquat applications. We've got some thunderclouds behind us, so we might get some rains in here, could have another shot of growth here. We want to make sure we shut that plant down, use some higher rates Mepiquat, shut that plant down. Also, while we're out there looking at that, we need to look for insects, any late season plant bugs, stink bugs, protect that yield. Also, with our Armor Boll Guard 3 cottons, we have a higher threshold for bollworms, but we want to make sure we double check, look for any egg lays or any escapes. We haven't seen that in West Tennessee, but a good thing to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, so let's go back a couple of things. You talked about the last effective bloom date, and so, you know, this is today, this morning, already turning pink because we know this white flower this morning. This is going to come around on the 14th more than likely, so we're hitting that 15th day. The reason that's important because to go from this stage here as a bloom to a full harvestable boll, mature boll, is about 55 to 60 days. So that puts us around that October 15th timeline. Now, last couple years we had some later falls where we had some heat to push this plant, but we know our normal freeze date is sometime mid to late October. So that last effective boll date, that's when you have a 50% chance or shot of making that boll. So you may or may not make it. And the issue we run into that is as we get these bolls at the top that are immature, our micronair is affected, our length and our strength and overall yield. So we really want to not have a lot of blooms or bolls at the top that are open come harvest time because that affects our fiber strength. You talked about insects. You know, we've had a huge moth flight through the Mississippi Delta. They've been fighting worms for 2 or 3 weeks. We've had a few moth counts go up in West Tennessee, but very, very little. And like Nikki pointed out, our Boll Guard 3 has a higher threshold. We were talking about Boll Guard 2, we'd be talking about a Prevathon Besiege, some type of application. But you mentioned plant bugs. Oftentimes we forget that as these bolls at the bottom mature, we protect them early season with our plant bugs application. But these are all squares that we need to make sure we're holding on to. Until that boll becomes about a thumb or bigger size, we have the opportunity to lose it. So we need to protect this top crop. So our insecticides do that. You know, your aciphates, bracket 97s, some other pyrethroids. You can put those in there late season, especially as you said, if you're coming over top with a late Mepiquat application. You know, we don't automatically make a shutdown application of Mepiquat, but it is an opportunity, as Nikki pointed out, with a lot of rain, if you got a lot of nitrogen underneath the cotton, with the heat we're getting, this cotton's going to continue to try to grow. It's perennial. It's going to continue to try to grow, so that Mepiquat shortens those internodes and allows that plant to bloom all the way through the top. So there's 2 or 3 things we need to be focused on. Really look at the crop, scout it. Remember those plant bugs and stink bugs. As our corn dries down, we're going to have stink bugs moving out of our corn into our cotton crop and getting these bolls. Even our more mature bolls, stink bugs will get down in there and get those. So great opportunity to put Master Lock in a tank, get that application down through the canopy, get it on those bolls and protect those lower bolls. And that's kind of what we need to focus on the next 14 days. As we get into late August, September, we'll follow this back up with a video on defoliation and some things to think about as we get in that season.